Hello friends and welcome to True Crime Inspector. Today's story is a tragic one, unfolding in Frisco, Texas. It began on January 14th, 2014, a Tuesday just before noon, when law enforcement was called to check on Anna Moses, a 43-year-old woman living alone. Her boyfriend, Michael Stodnick, grew worried after his attempts to contact her went unanswered. The previous evening, they had plans for a date. Michael arrived at her house around 7:30 p.m. to find it unusually dark, with no car in the driveway. Anna usually parked outside unless the weather was bad. Despite repeated attempts to reach her through calls, texts, and ringing the doorbell, there was no response. Michael waited at a nearby Starbucks before checking again, only to find the situation unchanged, leading him to return home. The next morning, still unable to contact Anna, Michael's concern escalated. He reached out to her friends, who also hadn't heard from her. Returning to her house at 9 a.m., Michael noticed the trash bins and packages at her doorstep, untouched. With a key but not knowing the alarm code, he refrained from entering, suspecting Anna hadn't been home since the previous workday. Michael contacted the police for a welfare check, who then directed him to the University of Texas at Dallas Police, where Anna worked. Despite informing campus police and speaking with her boss, who confirmed her absence from work on January 14th, it wasn't until Anna's boss officially reported her missing that the situation was taken seriously. Following a 911 call, police arrived at Anna's residence. With her son Igor, who had a key, they entered the house at 12:05 p.m. as indicated by the alarm log. This was the first entry since the morning of January 13th. Inside, the police found no signs of forced entry, but a grim discovery awaited in the garage: Anna's body, still in her coat and scarf, with evidence of a fatal shooting. Anna had been shot 7 times, 1 in the neck, 2 in the chest, 3 in the back, and 1 bullet lodged in her clothing without breaking the skin. Defensive wounds on her hands suggested a struggle. Strangely, the police found 11 cartridge cases, but no bullet holes in the garage, raising suspicions of a staged robbery. Anna's purse with money and scattered mail were near her, along with an empty Taco Bell sack and a quesadillas wrapper. This perplexing scene left numerous questions unanswered. Most importantly, where was Anna's car and what really occurred in that garage? No fingerprints were found on the patio door or the interior garage door, leading police to believe that Anna was murdered on the evening of January 13th, soon after returning from her job at the University of Texas at Dallas. The pressing question was, who was responsible for Anna's murder? As the investigation unfolded, more complexities emerged. Anna, originally from Russia, had moved to the United States after marrying Robert Moses, who also adopted her son, Igor. Initially, the family seemed close-knit, but as Anna grew more independent in her new American life, her marriage with Robert began to strain, particularly due to her interactions with other men. One of these men was Dr. John Workowski, a colleague who often provided Anna with financial assistance. Another was Jerry Caspel, with whom Anna shared a passion for opera and musicals. Although Jerry dedicated 2 books of poetry to Anna, he insisted their relationship was platonic, as he was married. The police also interviewed Dr. Jacqueline Christian, a colleague of Anna's, who recalled a distressing incident involving Anna and her ex-husband Robert. Anna once claimed she was locked in a closet by Robert, although this incident was later dismissed as a misunderstanding. Despite the fear she expressed during her marriage, Anna seemed content and happy after her divorce, engaging in online dating and finding a relationship with Michael, whom she met on Match.com. Robert, when questioned by the police, had an alibi for the night of Anna's murder, supported by surveillance footage from a bar. However, police noticed a cut on Robert's hand. Despite this, he cooperated with the investigation, providing DNA samples and allowing a search of his residence, where various firearms were found, but none matched the murder weapon. A breakthrough came when Anna's car was discovered nearby her house. Blood on the driver's seat, muddy footprints on the hood and roof of the car, and items like a Red Bull can and cigarette butt, neither of which Anna used, were found inside. Significantly, DNA analysis confirmed that the blood in the car matched Robert's DNA, adding a new dimension to the investigation. When the police questioned Robert about the blood found in Anna's car, he first said he didn't know why it was there. But later, he admitted he had been in Anna's car on January 28, 2015, saying he had to fix a broken water pipe in her garage. His changing story led to him being charged with Anna's murder. In court, the prosecution argued that Robert was the only person with the motive, means, and opportunity to murder Anna, suggesting that he committed the crime for financial gain. The prosecution's narrative detailed Anna's movements on January 13th, the day of her disappearance. She left for work at 8:23 a.m., activated her house alarm, and was recorded on surveillance leaving her workplace at 5:02 p.m. She stopped at Taco Bell at 5:07 p.m., as confirmed by a credit card transaction. Significantly, surveillance footage near an elementary school captured a vehicle similar to Anna's near her home around 5:44 p.m. This timing led to speculation that someone might have been waiting for her in her garage. The prosecution posited that Anna was killed between 5:50 p.m. and 5:55 p.m. Witnesses who lived near where Anna's car was found also testified. Stephen Brockway noted that the SUV, later identified as Anna's car, wasn't there when he moved a trailer around 1 p.m., but appeared by 3 p.m. on January 14th. Another neighbor reported seeing a blue Chevy truck in the vicinity between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m., suggesting Anna's car was parked there after 6 p.m. that day. Additionally, the court heard that police had interviewed other men in Anna's life, including Michael and Jerry. Both cooperated fully, providing DNA samples for the investigation. This comprehensive approach by law enforcement aimed to leave no stone unturned in their quest to solve the mystery of Anna Moses's tragic death. Michael didn't have any guns, according to his statement to the police. Jerry, on the other hand, owned a couple, a 9mm Glock and a .22 target pistol. Yet, when the police looked into it, these weapons were nowhere to be found. The court delved into Jerry's whereabouts on the fateful day of January 13th. According to toll booth records, Jerry clocked out from his Arlington workplace at 5:18 p.m. and was seen heading towards his home by 6 p.m. This timeline strongly suggested Jerry couldn't possibly be at Anna's place when the crime was believed to have occurred. As for Dr. Wierkowski, he was quickly ruled out as a suspect. His whereabouts at the time of the murder were verified. He was miles away in Garland Rowlett, heading home. Plus, the type of gun he owned didn't match the murder weapon. A puzzling twist came when DNA analysis was conducted on the Red Bull can and cigarette butt found in Anna's car. They revealed DNA from an unknown man, a mystery piece in this complex puzzle. Despite a thorough search in the DNA database, no matches turned up. The prosecution's angle was clear. They believed Robert had a financial motive. A dive into his finances painted a picture of desperation, credit cards pushed to their limits. Michael and other witnesses painted a picture of Robert as a man overly interested in Anna's financial situation. From questions about her finances right after her death to inquiries about her jewelry, he seemed almost too focused on the material aftermath of her passing. Anna's friend, Tatiana, echoed this sentiment, recalling Robert's businesslike demeanor and his keen interest in Anna's financial documents. And then there was the matter of Anna's will. Frank Shobra, overseeing Anna's estate, advised setting up a trust for Igor, but Robert had other plans, directing the funds into a joint bank account. The defense, however, wasn't buying the one-sided investigation. They argued that the police's tunnel vision on Robert meant other potential suspects were overlooked. The mystery DNA in Anna's car and the unidentified footprints didn't match Robert, and the actual murder weapon remained elusive. In Robert's defense, it was argued that he didn't stand to financially gain from Anna's death, pointing out that their son Igor was the beneficiary of her life insurance. Robert claimed he moved into Anna's house just to help Igor with his bills and household duties, a statement Igor himself supported in court. He said he asked Robert to move in for guidance, especially since Anna had always taken care of everything for him. About the bloodstain found in Anna's car, Igor said it was old, not something recent. The defense also questioned the exact time of Anna's death. The medical examiner had noted that Anna's stomach contents were almost fully digested. The defense argued that if Anna ate a quesadillas right before she was murdered around 6 p.m., there should have been more recognizable food remnants in her stomach. This point suggested she might have been killed later, providing an alibi for Robert and the other men in Anna's life. However, in late 2016, after over 8 hours of jury deliberation in Collin County, Robert was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. The prosecution labeled him a calculating killer who ambushed Anna in her prime. They emphasized that no one should live in fear of him again. Robert didn't accept the verdict and filed an appeal. He argued that his conviction was based on speculation rather than solid evidence. The appeal focused on details like the Taco Bell quesadillas and the unexplained large sum in Anna's savings account at her death. Specifically, the appeal challenged the medical examiner's testimony about the time of Anna's death. If Anna ate the quesadillas around 5:45 p.m. and was killed shortly after, the food in her stomach would have been partially digested. However, the examiner couldn't identify any food in her stomach, casting doubt on the time of death. If Anna was killed after 7 p.m., Robert, who was seen at a bar at that time, would have an alibi. In his appeal, Robert highlighted a mystery surrounding Anna's finances, pointing out the significant growth in her savings account over 23 months, which seemed unusual given her regular spending patterns. He criticized the investigation for not probing the origin of these funds. However, the state appeals court found these arguments unconvincing. Regarding the Taco Bell quesadillas, they stated it was unclear whether Anna even consumed it. As for the substantial savings, the court noted that the prosecution had already suggested during the trial that this money might have been from a past romantic partner who wanted to support Anna financially. Ultimately, the court upheld the original conviction, ensuring Robert remained in prison. This ruling reaffirmed the verdict of the initial trial and validated the judicial process. I'm curious about your perspective on this case. Do you agree with the court's decision, or do you have a different viewpoint? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe and click the bell icon to stay up to date with the latest true crime stories released daily on the channel.